Our final comedian competing for the title of Funniest Accountant tonight is the plant controller and purchasing manager for FieldTurf USA. He has degrees from UGA, Kennesaw State, and New Orleans Theological Seminary. He is also the host of his own podcast, The Christian Commute. Please raise the roof for Mr. Seth Dunn.
It is so nice to get a warm welcome somewhere because everyone at work hates me. I am the plant controller, a managerial accountant. What I do is I make budgets and cut people out of the budgets. So when they see me coming, especially on the floor out in the plant, and they might be sitting around, they tend to get faster when they see me coming. The other day, it was really cold. I mean, really cold in my plant, so I went out to stand by the oven. We have a nice big industrial oven. I was warming up, and it felt so good. And one of the guys on the line started eyeballing me. After a few minutes, he walked up. "What are you doing out here, Seth? Because I need my job." "Oh, take it easy, Bobby. I'm not out here to cut anybody. I'm just trying to keep warm. I cut the heating budget, and it's freezing in here." I wish I could say I was happy to be back in Atlanta, but I'm not. I don't like to come to this city. This might tank me in a contest called the South's Funniest Accountant, but I have a favorite Union general. It was Sherman. He burnt this city down. Just you're sitting in traffic, and you could just imagine Sherman marching through with his troops, burning all the hero units and all the signs, and finally getting to where you want to go. I stay away from Atlanta, except for football and supporting Chick-fil-A. So I went, yeah, that's a chair for Chick-fil-A. The last time I was here was for the Chick-fil-A college kickoff. So as an evangelical Christian, I am honor and duty and morally bound to support all things Chick-fil-A. And I have to say, it's getting a little out of hand. The Southern Baptist came out with a new Bible translation, the Christian Standard. Has anybody seen it? If you flip to Leviticus, the parts where it says don't eat shrimp and don't eat pigs, it just says eat more chicken. And then even the high church people are getting onto it, because I went to Lifeway the other day and I found a liturgy, and there's some responsive readings. And the pastor says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And the congregational response is, "It was my pleasure. Would you like anything else?" I don't know if Jesus likes waffle fries. I have to imagine he does. But it was a great game. But the one thing that bothered me about the game was how the women were dressed, because I'm a fundie and I judge everyone, especially women. So when I was in school, all the sorority girls got dressed up really nice, almost semi-formal, but some of these ladies dressed like what I imagine strippers would dress like if I'd ever seen one. And I told my wife, and I said, you know, we have really failed our daughters if they grow up and they dress that way. But then we got in the Dragon Con crowd after we left. And I saw a Chewbacca walking down Peachtree. And I turned to my wife and I said, if our kids dress like that when he grows up, we failed them and they live in our basement. So we ended up at the varsity, and no joke, a whole table near us was the Star Trek Enterprise. They were all dressed up as Kirk and Uhura and Spock. They're in character. And Kirk says, "Spock, I'm famished. Could I borrow $5 for a chili burger?" Kirk walks up. I'm behind him in line. The guy says, "What do you have? What do you have?" I said, "How about a job?" So yeah, I'm always going to encourage my kids to get out and be independent, because I have 5. I can't afford for them to not be independent living in my basement. Sam's been telling some joke during practice about becoming a billionaire and going to a millionaire when you have kids, and everybody laughs. I don't, because that's my life. So I'm very happy to see them grow up and become independent. But you know it hurts a little when your kids don't need you as much anymore. My kids are getting to where they want to go to the bathroom on their own, and they don't need me to go in with them. The only thing they can't do is open the door, because bathroom doors are like 3 inches thick and 200 pounds, so my kid will be pushing on it. I'm like, "Do you want me to help you with that?" No, because you're going to pee your pants. I'll just open it. It's really awkward when I help my daughters open the bathroom door, because I'm trying to do it like this. I'm not looking. go in there. The other day I was at Belk. My son had to go to the bathroom. So we go back to the customer service station where there's a 100-year-old lady wrapping Christmas presents. He goes into the bathroom by himself. He says, "Dad, there's something written in here." I said, "Oh, Lord, what is it, son?" It says, "What does S-E-X spell?" I said, "Son, that's Latin for the number 6. And trust me, I got 5 kids. I know that Latin for the number 6 is sex. I live in fear. He hollers at me again. He says, "Dad, there's more in here. What is F-U-C?" I said, son, my Latin's rusty. He came out of the bathroom. I said, "Son, I want to have a very important conversation with you. I don't want you to start studying Latin until you're married." And I actually have studied some Latin in school. I've studied Hebrew, Bereshit bara Elohim, Veth Hasamayim, Haveth Haaretz. All the Jewish and the accountants in the audience know I pronounced that wrong. Some of you are none the wiser. I know a little Greek. In arche, in halagos, hantheos. Nobody knows if I pronounced that right. And I've come to realize that I studied these useless languages that nobody knows because I work in a carpet mill with 200 Hispanics and I can't talk to them at all because I don't know Spanish. The only Spanish I know is trabajo gratis. That means free labor, and that's when I get a salaried person to work more than 8 hours. And I've noticed that, the Hispanic people are different than me. We come from a different culture. This is normally the time in a stand-up comedy show or contest where the person starts making ethnic jokes. But I can't do that as a white male heterosexual Protestant. I have an intersectionality score of 0. I can't get away with that. The other thing, as you've already learned that people joke about in these stand-up comedy gigs, is sex and alcohol. Now, I have actually been to preaching school. Hey, let's hear it for sex and alcohol. All right. Some of you wouldn't be here without it. We got to sell tickets. So, I have been formally trained at a Southern Baptist Theological Seminary to stand on stages just like this with a microphone and make everyone feel bad about sex and alcohol. That's why I went last. And some of the people from the church are like, "I don't know, Seth, why are you involved in this stand-up comedy contest? That's a little worldly." I said, "Don't worry, I'm going to mention Jesus, don't worry." So that's once. And they said, "Well, what's the prize anyway?" I said, "It is a mission trip to Las Vegas." I asked my wife, I was like, "This is our chance to get away in a nice room. We can't afford a nice room like that with 5 kids. Where should we just sit there and sleep? Man, we can eat like all the prime rib we want." My wife says, "I'm not going with you to Las Vegas." I said, "Why?" She says, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless it's baby number 6. So she's here. Give her a hand, mother of 5. Unfortunately, my mom is here too. When I had to try out for this show, and I'm a fundy, I don't like to make these dirty sex jokes. But I only had 1 minute to qualify. I said, "How am I going to be funny in 1 minute?" So I walked in there, I looked at him, and I said, "Man, 1 minute to finish? Now I know how my wife feels." I got home the next day, my mom came over, and she said, "Hey, what was your set? What'd you do?" I said, "It was improv, Mom. I really don't remember." She lives in Arizona half the time, so it's not like I thought she would be here. So she flew here to see me and brought her twin sister. So now I had to take a sex joke in front of my mom. So I can't joke about that. I can't joke about ethnicity. I want to joke about a disability. If you have a disability, if you have it, you can joke about it. And I have autism. It gets me fired all the time. So sometimes I say I suffer from autism. Really, everybody around me suffers from it. When you have autism, particularly Asperger's syndrome, you just spout out whatever is on your mind uncontrollably. Yeah, there we go. Autism speaks. It makes me very introverted and a great analytical accountant in my little room making spreadsheets because people are just on a spreadsheet. "Oh, this guy costs $30,000. We'll cut him." So I'm very good at that. But when you're in public accounting, and I was for a long time, they don't want you to put you around a client because you'll say anything. I went to audit this client once. He owned a series of MRI centers. An MRI machine cost about $1 million, and he had 20 of them. So he had 20 debt confirmations. So I walked up to him, I said, Scott, here's your debt confirmations. But I only gave him 19. I took the one I forgot back. Somebody was in his office. He says, boy, you still have a lot of paperwork. I said, well, you owe money all over town, Scott. I was not invited back to that client. And I was not long for that firm. I've been around a lot of accounting firms. Let's see, PwC interviewed there, didn't get it. Grant Thornton. Grant Thornton's here. EY is here. Hey, they got another Thursday night from you. It's not even busy season. The ones who didn't laugh are going to go back and charge hours after this show. But I'm going to do something right now. I don't get the chance to do a lot because I get fired so much. I'm going to, of my own volition, resign.
Seth Dunn, everybody.